I'm here at a marina in Southern California checking out the Pedego Latch. This is their first folding electric bike, and again, I'm at the marina because it's a perfect type of bike for bringing on your boat or maybe a private plane or just traveling in general. You can see how small it gets. It's actually really compact when folding, surprisingly so. I was really impressed with this little kind of clip thing down at the bottom of the hub, and then that bar that sticks out. Those two fasten together. You can kind of see it right there, and they just keep it feeling solid. You know, a lot of times I'll look at a folding electric bike and sometimes they have a bungee or a magnet. This is one of the most solid that I have tried so far. It's also got some of the highest capacity for the battery. So you've got a couple different options, a classic 36 volt, 10 amp hour, or you can upgrade to a 15 amp hour pack. And the prices change a little bit depending on which one you get. So it's $25.95 for the 10 amp hour or $28.95 for the 15 amp hour, and that's just going to get you a little bit further. Folding electric bikes benefit from, having these smaller wheels, that allows them to fold up a little bit like you see over there. But one of the other advantages is that when you use a hub motor like Pedego is here, you get kind of a mechanical advantage because it doesn't have to push so hard to turn like a really wide wheel. It's kind of smaller, and you get better torque that way. So they're actually using a 250 watt internally geared front hub motor that you see here. It's made by Dapu. That's who makes a lot of their motors. Really quality stuff here, and it's actually, but surprisingly quick. It's got some real pull to it. It is in the front wheel, as you can see here. Being a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter weight, it didn't feel like it was impacting my steering at all when I was on there. And they like to say it's all-wheel drive because, of course, the pedals are turning the crank and giving you rear-wheel drive, but human power. So, you can kind of have an all-wheel drive setup that way. Very cool to see. And I think the peak output on this is about 500 watts. And, another area that was interesting to me as far as like power on this bike is that it's rated to go like 15.5 miles per hour, and that's so that this satisfies like the European requirements and stuff. But here in the US, we've got a twist throttle, you can see right here. And in twist throttle mode, I've been getting up closer to like 17 miles per hour. So they kind of give you a little bit of extra juice, which is just neat. Again, if you're in the US, having that throttle is great. I love that it overrides assist, just like on all the other Pedego bikes. Since we're talking about this hub back here, this is Shimano Nexus Inter 3, sort of internally geared hub, 3 speeds. So it's, no grease, no chain rings, no derailleur, just this little kind of wired box thing right here. And of course, you can see that Gates carbon belt drive right here. So again, no chain, no rattling or grease or anything. And this is a CDX, kind of a center track. You can see there's a line right down the middle, so the belt doesn't fall off. It's not gonna slip around. Really, really good stuff, premium stuff all the way around. And even this chain cover right here, it's metal, and it just right in line with, the back tubing. Really wraps around the battery. This thing is sturdy and really rigid. A lot of times with a folding electric bike, you're kind of compromising. You're getting something that's a little bit lighter. It's meant to be portable, but then how does it actually ride if you're someone who's a little bigger or you're carrying some cargo? And you can see here that they do have that nice rack. They've got some built-in bungee fasteners, and all of the other Pedego kind of like panniers and other accessories work with this. So it's pretty compatible with the rest of their systems. But again, something I've never seen from them before is that belt drive, the internal gearing, and a front hub motor. But I think they chose wisely for a folding bike. You do have to make some compromises. The bike comes in several fun colors, including this neon green. And I love that the wheels also kind of match. You can see the wheel set there. Really quality tires. This is Schwalbe Big Apple 20 by 2 inch, and you've even got those reflective sidewalls. You can see there's a quick disconnect for the front motor, and that the cable comes in kind of under the axle instead of outside and through it. And that's awesome because sometimes bikes tip over, and you don't want this cable getting pinched or potentially cut if that happens accidentally. Love that all the wires are run through the tubing. They even run through kind of the fold up here, and that's for like the brake lines and stuff and shifters, but some of the electronics run right through here. Really, really well done, and little rubber pads and stuff all over the bike to try to keep it in good shape because it might get bumped around. Some of my favorite little pads and kind of accessories here are these right here on the back, the rear rack. You can see these rubber things. They're designed to keep your frame in good shape if you decide to kind of store this upright, as you see here. So normally you might be storing it forward like this, and you can see that the seat post would collide with the ground, and that's fine. The seat post is just black metal. No one's really going to see that, but they will see the rack, right? And so that's just really thoughtful. You can tell they've been through a number of design updates with this thing to get it just right. And again, the light, you've got a headlight, you've got a rear light. A lot of times if you're traveling with something like this, you may be in a town you're not familiar with, and you definitely want to be seen, you want to be safe. Fenders, full length, plastic. And I asked about the plastic, and they said, oh, you know, that's because sometimes they might get bumped, and instead of getting scratched and bent and stuff, these ones actually flex and they kind of stay true that way. So really like that. And again, just the tubing, look at this, there's 2 tubes along the top, not just one big heavy one that can flex. These are going to give each other really good support, and they do. It feels nice, and this feels more like a full-size electric bike to me than a folder. And I think it's just, you know, the seat post is super long. It's like 550 millimeters long, and then this sort of the stem, it goes extra long. It's telescoping right there. Really nice to be able to kind of sit on this thing and just, you know, reach out and be comfortable that way. Also notice that the Pedego grips have been updated. They're still this kind of stitched pattern, but they're, I don't know, it's still padded, but it's not this like faux leather. It's like a little bit more of a kind of a foam feel to it, and it feels very water resistant. And on that topic, you can see these waterproof cables right here. Really nice. They're going to keep this thing in good shape. If you're at a marina or something, if it starts to rain, this thing is water resistant. Designed to do well that way. And it does come with a 1-year comprehensive warranty, along with 2 additional years of prorated battery replacement. So if something goes wrong, they basically kind of cut the cost for you, and you can get one going that way. I should say that the battery is really cool in that it's compatible with all of the other Pedego electric bikes that are relatively recent model years, maybe like 2014, 2015. You can see over here the keys that are in it. They don't have to stay in it to ride. So I love that, and being able to take these out. They aren't going to jingle around or hit your leg, because your legs do actually pass kind of near this rack, and you'll see that the pedals are just a little bit further forward, so they're trying to give you that comfortable classic Pedego seating position, and they're also trying to build the rack. They're doing a lot of things, and it's very custom. This bike does weigh a little bit more. It's like 53 pounds, and the batteries range from 7 pounds for the 10 amp hour to about 9 pounds for the 15 amp hour. That's definitely a little bit heavier. Kind of makes the bike rear heavy with the battery back there, but you know, it's utilitarian because you got the rack. And then again, the motor weight is up front, so you're kind of compromising that way. Sometimes if everything's in the back, it ends up feeling really heavy, but this is decent, and you get really good brakes for this thing. So of course we got the Tektro Electro Bike specific brakes with the bell integrated. Love that, rubberized on the front. 180 millimeter Shimano rotors here with Avid BB7 finger adjustable calipers and pads. So awesome stuff that way. Even the kickstand, adjustable length, really blends in nicely. This thing is really feature complete in my opinion. You know, we're over here at the folded bike, and I wanted to show you what it looks like inside, so you can see the cables are internally routed there, and then this is some of them kind of come along the bottom and through the bottom there. So well protected. They stay out of the way, and they give you that nice finish that almost looks like a regular bicycle. You know, a few people have been walking by on the paths asking about this, like, oh, look at that bicycle. They don't even realize it's an electric bike, which is a real testament, I think, to the quality. Even the pedals here, these are folding aluminum pedals, so they're a little bit stiffer. And of course, being folding, you know, they allow for that really narrow form factor when you're stowing it. There's a couple nice grab points here on the seat, or even right here on the tubing, and they purposefully ran the cables around that so that you wouldn't get them kind of hung up or clip your fingers and stuff. Sometimes those zip ties can kind of scratch you up. So I really like that. Nice Velo hybrid saddle here with the Pedego branding. Definitely one of the easier bikes to find locally to try out, you know, see if you like it. And I love that the battery is completely removable, so when you are traveling with this, it reduces the weight. It allows you to bring the battery pack inside from your car or your boat or whatever and charge it off that way. So cool stuff. I got a chance to hang out with the founder, Don, and you know, he has a Tesla. He was gonna kind of show me how you can fit one of these in your trunk, so I'm gonna cut to that real quick. I was hoping you could just show me how easy it is to take it out, you know, unfold it, that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, with a folding bike, there's going to be a few compromises. This one we tried to make no compromise. So we made it as light as we possibly could. We made it as portable as we possibly could. So we can get 2 of them in here. You can easily get one in just about any trunk. Some of them will take 2. This particular model will take 2.
Okay.
So it's really easy when you go to take it out. You just lift it up, set it down. It has the seat post doubles as a kickstand, so when you're putting it together, it sits on the kickstand.
Oh yeah.
So it's really easy. You unfold it from the first latch, you pop it out. Everybody develops a different style. I like to put the kickstand down, then the bike is standing up.
Oh yeah.
And then I simply latch it.
Look at that latch.
So that's the main functional latches, gives strength and rigidity.
Yeah.
It's kind of the best part about the bike because it holds it together. It's a very rigid bike.
Okay.
Then I'm simply going to flip the handlebars up.
Oh, there we go. Get the pedal out of the way.
Like this, and latch it. Again, another latch. That's now latched in place. I twist the handlebars a little bit toward me because we move them so that the brake levers fold up.
Yeah.
So that latches in. I can raise and lower the handlebars to my liking. I'm a little bit taller, so I like the handlebars a little bit taller. If I want them a little more comfortable, I can twist them backward and forward. And I raise the seat, and then I'm pretty much ready to ride.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
so
I love
again, I'm kind of tall, so I'm going to raise the seat kind of high, and you'll see that we can make it. I'm 6'1", but I can make it too tall where I can't climb on it.
Huh.
You could put a 7-foot guy on that seat. Look how high it is. So it really works for just about everybody. I like it about this height.
Yeah.
Latch it up and undo the pedals. The pedals fold in for additional portability. They just pop out.
And they're metal too. These are pretty solid.
Good quality. Everything we did was high quality component. Now I'm pretty much ready to go.
Look at that.
I forgot one important thing though, Court. You know what that is?
What?
The battery.
The battery. Yes, right.
So even if I didn't have the battery, it'll ride. It rides great. It rides just like a regular folding bike. But to keep it a little bit lighter when we pop it in and out, I need to go and do the hardest part about this thing, and that would be to install the battery. So I take this battery and slide it in, and that's it. So we're now ready to go. Turn the battery on, power it up.
And ready to go. Sweet. Thank you. I'm just amazed that you could get 2 of those in your Tesla without even folding the seats down. I mean, that was cool. Well, you were talking about being at like one of the power stations. It does take a while to charge electric vehicles, and you know, if you bring something like this along, you can go out and take a ride. You can enjoy yourself.
30 seconds apart, it folds up just as easy. Store it in your apartment, store it in the trunk of your car. I plan to keep one in my car all the time. So when I get to the Tesla supercharger, I've got something to do. The one that closest to here is right by a bike path. I can get off, I can park my car, plug it in, go for a ride, come back in an hour, and I'm ready to go. Throw the bike back in the trunk, and off I go.
Well, and I feel like, you know, if you keep this in your car at all times, the battery, you can charge it separate from the bike. So you could bring it into the office. You could probably even charge it if you had a converter in your car or something.
Exactly.
So Paul, can you take the seat out again real quick? It's so long. I think we measured it was like 550 millimeters by 31.8.
31.8.
So it's super wide, super long, so that you get that range Don was talking about. What are the colors that this thing comes in?
This bike comes in lime green, space blue, and black.
Okay, yeah, I like the lime green because it's just really visible and kind of like for safety. Let's go ahead and fold it down. So first thing, make sure it's off so we don't accidentally bump the throttle or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Okay, first thing we're gonna do is put the seat down.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna put the pedals in a 9 and 3 position with the non-drive side pointed forward.
Okay, so the left one forward.
Yep. We're gonna fold these pedals in as well.
Yep.
This will help in the folding process a little later.
Cool.
And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold the handlebars down.
It's got that quick release.
Yep. And we want the brake levers to be parallel with the position of the
And that's
stem.
so they don't stick out. So it's like you put them straight down.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
All right, next point is to put the stem all the way down. So we'll slide that to its stopping position and then lock that back in.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna release the latch right here.
And this is like a safety thing here, right?
Yep, we have a lot of redundant latch spots. And we wanna make sure that safety's top priority. The latch won't come undone unless you click the lever here, and the same thing with the stem as well.
That's awesome. I love how it's like no screws are gonna fall off or anything. It's all kind of contained.
Next step is to pull the kickstand up.
Okay.
And then we're gonna release the latch here in the center and then fold it right together. And then you can see the pin We're gonna join the front wheel to the rear wheel.
There we go. So it actually stays latched. That is awesome. That's something a lot of folding electric bikes don't have. And then I noticed you can walk with it almost, right? You can carry it forward a little bit like that. Yep. That is pretty sweet. I like that. Kind of leaning it up.
Press it, put it down, and stand up position.
Okay, I think it's about time for a test ride. I'm gonna go ahead and just hop on this thing, give you a quick overview of the display. I've already put the key in and turned it to on. You can see here we've got different tick marks that sort of show your assist level. So you can go all the way down to 0, which is what they call free ride mode. It just acts like a bicycle. The throttle won't work, pedal assist won't work. You just got a nice bike computer, and if you press the power button just quickly, you got the lights. So you're running lights, you got some feedback about speed, distance, all that. That's awesome. Then as soon as you go up to, level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, pedal assist kicks in, and you've got a 6-magnet cadence sensor right there at the bottom bracket. That works pretty well. It didn't quite respond as quickly as a 12 sensor, but being a little bit of a smaller bike, I find that my cadence, especially at lower speeds, is enough to kind of kick in, switch it on, switch it off. So that is cool. And then if we go all the way up here to 6, that is throttle only mode. And again, throttle overrides all 5 of those other pedal assist modes if you're in the US, if you got a US version of this bike. We got speed over here, we've got battery capacity, there are 5 bars there. And then down here we've got trip distance, time, and odometer, just by pressing that set button. So very cool. And again, this is a backlit display, and it has a USB charging port right here. Isn't that cool? You can see the little plug, so you could plug your phone in or your little MP3 player or something, and you can run off that main battery pack. That's one of the things I love about this. It's just, again, feature complete. It's got a lot of little technical sort of upgrades that some of the lower quality bikes might not have. To use that USB port, you hold set and plus for a couple seconds, and then a little icon comes up. It says USB, so that says, okay, we're sending power to that thing and you can use it now. I just love that. And I also like, this is a pretty clean cockpit, especially on a folding bike where the bars tend to be narrower. We've got the bell. We've got the shifters over here, which you can shift at standstill. That's one of the cool things about an internally geared hub back there. You get to a stop sign and you shift back down to the first gear. And then you're ready to go and just pop that throttle. So let's do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get it going. But again, you can reach a lot of those buttons without taking your hand off the grip if you wanna change settings. And then of course, you've got your throttle and everything. So I'm just gonna kick it off with the throttle. Really zippy. And that's the thing, it actually climbs pretty well too, just because the wheel diameter is smaller. But one of the trade-offs with any of these, smaller wheeled bicycles is that the wheel can kind of go into bumps and potholes and cracks a little bit more. It doesn't span them quite as well as if this was like a city bike, that kind of thing. So I guess that's one of the things, one of my points of feedback. The saddle is pretty comfortable, but there's no suspension here. The Schwalbe tires are nice, 2 inches, that's a little bit wider than something like a city bike again, but it does, if you were riding this over longer distances, you kind of start to feel it. And I guess that's why I like that the body position can kind of be dialed in. So you see me here, my hands are out, my back is up straight. I feel pretty comfortable riding this thing around. It does feel a little bit more like a full-size bike, and it's not rattling or flexing a whole lot. There is a little bit of frame flex because of that rear battery up at the top, but not a lot. Again, I think it's due to those double tube, kind of top tube, down tube design that they've got going. I'm gonna hop on once more and try to demonstrate the cadence sensor. So I'll be pedaling along in pedal assist level 3, and you can just sort of watch and listen for when the motor kicks in and get an idea for how that works. So arrow down to level 3, start pedaling. There it goes. Picked right up. Now I'm gonna stop. Yeah. Works pretty well. So you could probably hear and see that the front wheel was slipping out a little bit. I was using throttle mode and I was just juicing it. It doesn't happen as much in pedal assist mode, but it's definitely a characteristic of having a little bit more weight towards the back, and even that sort of back and upright, comfortable seating position. So I think accelerating a little bit slower, and also if you're someone who's a little bit heavier, and I only weigh 135 pounds, so you know, it's impressive what you can get out of just that 250 watt motor. And again, Dapu, it's a good brand. Now I'm back here with Cassidy. How's it going, buddy?
Great.
So you're pretty built, you know, you're a bit heavier than me. How much do you think you weigh?
About 175.
175. Okay, thank you for volunteering to help out with this shot. I wanted to get, you know, what it looks like for someone riding, someone who's a little bit, you know, heavier and a little bit more built than me. So you ready to go? We'll just
ready, yeah.
take off that way. I'll follow you. There he goes. Having trouble keeping up. Looking good. Thank you so much. Will you stand up real quick on it? Yeah. Beautiful. And how tall are you, man?
About 5'10".
About 5'10", and yeah, you look pretty comfortable on the seat. This is cool. I'm usually behind the camera, so thanks, man. It's definitely well designed, well thought out, especially for a first iteration from Pedego. Even the motor, which at first I was like, you know, a lot of Pedego bikes have these really big motors, but that adds a lot of weight. Those can be pretty powerful, but this was surprisingly, you know, capable in my view. So I think that's about it. I think we've kind of wrapped it up. If you'd like to learn more, go ahead and check out ElectricBikeReview.com. I've got some other folding bikes there as well. And of course, ride safe wherever you are.